Everybody knows about Germany's beer purity law. It says that the only ingredients allowed are water, yeast, malt and hops. And it's a very old law. It goes back to 1533 or 1516 or 1487, one of those years, or some other year, but only in Bavaria, or not. Except that there is no such law. All those bottles of German beer proudly boasting that they're brewed in accordance with the purity law, that's just an advertising gimmick. The first reference to the so-called purity law was in 1918. It was a member of the Bavarian state parliament, a man called Hans Rauch, who first coined the phrase. He was referring to the 1516 regulation, which really did exist, but not under that name. This was a Bavarian legislation and was mostly concerned with setting fair prices for beer, so not really a purity law. But it did contain a passage saying that the only ingredients allowed were barley, water and hops. Well, not yeast, funnily enough, and nobody quite knows why. It's often suggested that in those days people didn't know how yeast worked, but they did know that it worked, so it is still a complete mystery why it's not on the list. People have been complaining for a long time that they had been conned into paying premium prices for low quality beer. The insistence on barley, though, was because other grains such as wheat or rye were to be used for bread. This law wasn't the first of its kind, though. Other parts of Germany had had their own laws about what could and couldn't go into beer. Some allowed any malted grain, not just barley. Some actually outlawed hops in beer. It certainly wasn't the first food law in the world, in case you've heard that myth before. There are food laws and beer laws going back as far as the 18th century BC. The Bavarian law of 1516 didn't last very long. If you're thinking, hang on a minute, the law says you can only use barley, what about Germany's famous wheat beers? Well, there you are, the 1516 law no longer applies. In fact, only 45 years after it was enacted, more ingredients were being allowed. After that, there's a complicated history involving amendments to existing laws and then new laws coming in and replacing old laws until we get to the 1960s, when Bavarians started complaining about beer containing sugar being imported from other German states. Remembering Hans Rauch's invention of the phrase purity law, the Bavarian parliament successfully claimed that beer containing sugar could not be sold in Bavaria as beer. But that claim was based on a lie, that the 1516 regulation was still in force. It wasn't, and it was certainly never called a purity law. But never mind, don't let that spoil your enjoyment of a good German beer. Prost! Hey! Remember, you can always send me a postcard at this address. You can also find me elsewhere on the web. Visit Rewboss.com to find out how. She was the first contestant in the show's history to get the first question wrong.